Good afternoon, boys and girls. So today we're going to start looking at comparing numbers. We are also going to tie in the ordering numbers as well. So what we're going to do first is just talk about a few steps, make sure we're good on the symbols to use for comparing numbers before we get into some practice problems. Okay, so we're going to look at step one first of what to do. And there are a few different ways that you can compare and order numbers. We're going to look at two of those ways today. Both of them are going to work with place and place value. So our step one is going to be align numbers by place value. So what we're going to do is we are going to use our place value chart, the one that we've been working with a few days previously as well, to make sure that we're good to go, make sure we can line everything up with the correct places. Step two is going to be compare the digits in each place, say place value. And the most important part of this step is that you're going to start at the greatest place. Okay, the reason that we're going to start at the greatest place, we'll talk about that again when we get to an example. However, when we look at the greatest place, because that's going to tell us which figure is greater than, which one is less than, so on and so forth. And then again, we are going to work on ordering least to greatest, but you're going to do it the same way by lining them up with that place value chart. So these are really the two biggest steps that we're going to have. So now we're going to talk about our symbols, just to make sure we know which ones are which. Okay, so what I'm going to do is right in the middle, I'm going to write symbols. Okay, we're going to start with greater than, because that one is used a lot. Okay, so this one's going to be greater than. So whenever you see that, you're going to say this number is greater than this other number, but we'll practice that in a minute. The next symbol you're going to see is going to be the same thing, just flipped the other way, and then this one is going to be less than. And then the last one I know that we are very familiar with, it's going to be equal to. All right, boys and girls, so now we are going to work on a few examples. At any point in this video, if you need to pause it so you can catch up on notes, or you need to rewatch something, you are more than welcome to do so. Okay. So our first example that we're going to look at, so I'm going to put example over here. Is going to be with our place value charts. However, with the place value charts, we're going to represent our numbers a little bit differently than what I think we'd be used to doing. And then we are going to look at a way that we know very well. So the first two numbers that we're going to compare is going to be 3,010 compared to 2,040. Now, boys and girls, I do understand that some of us can look at this and already know which one's bigger, which one's smaller, which is great. However, we are working on making sure that we're showing our work, showing some kind of understanding with this. Okay, so underneath I am going to draw our place value chart. So I'm going to write our thousands, hundreds, tens, ones. So with our place value chart for today, I am not going over the thousands place because the highest place that we have in both numbers is the thousands. We don't need to go to the 10,000s or the 100,000s or the millions yet. Okay. All right, guys. So the way that we're going to represent these two numbers, I'm going to start with the first number we were given is 3,010. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write 3,000s and then 110. So I'm going to write 1,000, 1,000, and 1,000. So now we have 3 1,000s, and then to represent our 110, we're going to come over here and draw 110. Now what we're going to do, boys and girls, to separate this a little bit, I'm not going to draw a straight line across because I don't want to completely separate this place value chart. So what I'm going to do is just draw dashed lines going across. Bring these down just a little bit more, and so now we can represent our 2,040. So we're going to do the same thing. So looking at our thousands place, we have 2,000s. So I'm going to come down here, draw my 2,000s. We have nothing in the hundreds place, so nothing goes here. And then we have a 4 in the tens place, so we need to draw 4 tens. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, boys and girls, what we talked about earlier and previously was starting with the greatest place value. This is why. If you had started with, let's say, the ones place, there's nothing in the ones place for us to compare. Okay, let's shop to the tens place. We have 1 tens here, and we have 4 tens down here. So if you start with the smaller place, you're gonna say, oh, there's 4 tens. This number is bigger. But when you look at it as a whole, does it make sense to say 2,040 is greater than 3,010? It does not, because the 3,000 has one more thousand than the 2,000. So that is why it's very, very important for us to start with the greatest place to make sure that we're lining them up correctly. So ultimately, looking at all this, we can say that 3,010 is greater than 2,040. So I'm going to use this greater than symbol to put in the middle. And then we can go ahead and move on to our next example. The next example that we're going to look at, for right now, I am going to use the same numbers just because it's going to make sure we can correlate everything together. We can align it together and help that understanding to grow. So we are still going to draw out our place value chart. So we're still going to do our thousands. Whoop, got to put the T on the T. Our hundreds, our tens, and our ones. But for this one, instead of doing the discs that we have, our thousands disc and our tens disc, we're just going to write the numbers out within the places. So again, we're going to start with the first one they gave us. So 3,010. So there's a 3 in the thousands, nothing in the hundreds, a 1 in the tens, nothing in the ones. Now, boys and girls, I know that I'm going to be a stickler on it. You know it's coming. Do not forget to add that comma. You still need a comma even though it is in the place value chart, just so we don't forget to put it there. That comma is very, very important. So now let's look at our 2,040. So in the thousands place, we have a 2. I'm going to put that comma. Nothing in the hundreds, a 4 in the tens, nothing in the ones. So again, same concept. So starting with the greatest value, the greatest place, we're comparing a 3 and a 2. Already we can see that the 3 is going to be greater than the 2. So we can say that 3,010 is greater than 2,040. All right, boys and girls, so now I'm going to go ahead and flip over to the back. We are still working on comparing numbers, but we're going to take it just one step further and also look at ordering. So I'm going to go ahead and put example 2. And the numbers that we're going to look at for this one, boys and girls, is 32,534, 32,434, and then 32,644. So again, what we're going to do is start with our place value chart. So we go up to the 10,000s place. So we have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. So to represent the 10,000s, what I like to do is just do 10,000, so 2 T's. We're then going to have our thousands, hundreds, tens, ones. Okay, now boys and girls, for these problems, whichever method you choose to use, whichever one you prefer using, is 100% up to you. Whichever you choose to use to solve these problems out is 100% okay with me. But please make sure we are showing our work, we are showing our understanding. So what I'm going to do personally is I'm just going to use the one that used the digits, that separated the digits by place value. I'm not going to use the disc right now. If the discs make more sense to you, please use them. So I'm going to start with my 32,534. So in the 10,000s place, we have a 3. Thousands place, we have a 2. Hundreds place, we have a 5. Tens place, we have a 3. Ones place, we have a 4. Now again, boys and girls, please do not forget to put that comma. You do that for every single number. Our next number is 32,434. In the 10,000s place, we have a 3. Thousands place, we have a 2, comma. Hundreds place, we have a 4. Tens place, we have a 3. Ones place, we have a 4. Last number we have is 32,644. We're going to do the same thing. 10,000s place, we have a 3. Thousands place, we have a 2. Put that comma. Hundreds place, we have a 6. Tens place, we have a 4. Ones place, we have a 4. All right, boys and girls, so now to compare these numbers, what we're going to do and what I want us to practice with is putting these numbers in order from greatest to least. So what we need to be looking for is the biggest number right now. So again, our step 2 said to compare digits in each place value and then make sure we're starting with the greatest place. So we're going to start with our 10,000s place. Well, that does not help us right now because every digit in the 10,000s place is a 3, so they're all the same. Let's move over to the thousands. Again, we cannot compare it with the thousands place because every digit is a 2. They're all the same. But if we move to the hundreds place, that's where things start to change. We have a 5, a 4, and a 6. Now, boys and girls, at this point, when comparing numbers, it is going to be different with rounding, things like that. But with comparing numbers, this is where things change a little bit because now you can just stop. You don't need to compare the tens. You don't need to compare the ones right now because all of the hundreds are different. Now, let's say, for instance, that this digit, this 4, had been a 6. We then would have had to go to the tens place to compare the 4 and the 3. But again, since all of these are different, we can just stop right here at the hundreds place to figure out which number is the greatest and which one's the least. So starting with greatest number, we are going to look for the number that has the biggest value. So between 5, 4, and 6, that's going to be our 6. So the first number we're going to have is 32,644. Once that number is gone, we now have it between our 5 and our 4. Between 5 and 4, we know that 5 is going to be greater than. So the next number we're going to put in order is 32,534. And then since we have 2 out of the 3 numbers gone, we only have 1 more to work with, which is 32,434. So boys and girls, what you can do if you would like to, and I love doing it as well, if you want to illustrate where you are comparing the numbers, where your final answers are coming from, that would be great, just so I can continue to help you as much as possible when we do come back together. Alrighty, boys and girls, so go ahead and finish up our Nearpod for today, and then you can work on your practice, which is posted in Google Classroom. Have a great rest of your day.